Have you ever asked that question? Oh, I'm sure you know it. Hey, what pencil do you use? What pencil is that? Oh man, I have to let you in on a little secret. Actually, we'll get to that in a minute. Hello, everyone, and welcome back. First of all, we'll be showing my recent gesture and figure studies in the background while we have a little talk. Yes, I know I don't have a video set up yet. Someday. But for now, I want to say that hoarding and chasing that perfect tool is a problem with creatives. It's like the perfect tool will solve all of your problems. It'll even make it easy. It'll make it perfect. It'll solve the things you're struggling with. You know, the first thing that comes to mind when I think of a creative person, either hoarding resources or chasing that elusive tool, really, okay, it's music. That's the first thing I think of. Because especially when you consider how they record their music, the electronic components are such a big part of chasing that elusive sound they're trying to reach. For artists, this is less of an issue, but it's still an issue. Perhaps we bought a new set of pencils, one of each shade. Actually, it's more likely that you have way too many sketchbooks with far too few drawings. Or maybe you have how-to books that you haven't actually read, but you flipped through them when you bought it, and now they sit on your shelf so you look like you're educated. All these little things, they add up. For a musician, maybe they just buy a new guitar for $1,000, along with the audio plugins they purchased, and that sweet new microphone. Man, it's gonna make them sound so good. Or not. You see, I could give any of my guitars to my dad, and he would make it sound so sweet. But if I play it, clearly you know I'm an amateur. You see, here's the secret. Do you know it? Have you guessed it? You probably already know. You see, the most important tool you have is you. And trying to find that elusive tool is not actually helping you get better. It's taking your time away from what you should be doing, which is getting to work. Another way this can rear its ugly head is collecting resources, like in a general sense. Maybe you're collecting reference photos because someday you're going to need every single one that you ever find. Or maybe you're collecting tutorials, or you're binge watching YouTube videos. Or maybe you're just saving YouTube videos to your watch list and you slowly feel like you get through them, but the watch list is growing and growing and growing. Maybe it's time to stop. Slow down. Remember, the most important thing to your success is you, not how big your collection of reference photos is, or how big your watch later playlist is. So you have to ask yourself, is collecting more art resources really making you better? Do you have thousands upon thousands of reference photos? And you barely used any? I know I'm guilty of that. Or maybe you have multiple video trainings that you've either purchased, or maybe they're in that watch later playlist on YouTube. Are they still waiting there after several years? Has your watch list actually grown despite the fact that you're trying to watch them? Do you find yourself watching the same types of videos over and over again? Do you have those videos that you purchased and they're just sitting there collecting digital dust, unused? If you're not really using these things, if they're not actually benefiting you, what's the point? Maybe this is just a way to kind of push that can down the road. Procrastinate a little bit. It feels like you're getting something done. You are physically doing something. But is it actually getting you to your goal? Is it actually getting you closer to what you need to be doing? Are they adding value? In many ways, I'm speaking to my past self. I'm guilty of every one of these. But I see this today also in other artists. I see artists pick some great books they're going to study, and they're going to study these books and master these books. And then they go back and question, well, maybe I should get this book instead. Maybe I should get that book instead. And they're stuck in this kind of state of indecision. I do believe in making informed decisions the best that you can, but at some point you have to make that decision, and then you have to study. You can always purchase another book at a later time if it suits your needs, But if you end up buying multiple books at the same time, you're far less likely to actually use all those books. And if you're always fleeting from one thing to another and not really learning the material, really studying it out and understanding what the teacher is trying to communicate, are you making the best progress that you could be? I would suggest that the best thing you can do is to make sure you don't slacken your study and imaginative work to chase that perfect resource that will somehow solve all your problems. Art is hard, and it's worth it, but it's hard. No resource is going to solve all your needs. And even if you had the perfect resource, you may not be ready to actually understand the depths of what that teacher is teaching. Unbeknownst to you, it might actually be good that you started with something more simple. And then once you mastered those simple concepts, you found that perfect resource, but then you're actually ready for it. You get to understand everything that they're saying and really jump a few levels in your artwork. The fact is, it's just a simple truth that no resource is going to solve all of your needs. There's no, golden goose out there that's just going to be perfect for everything you need. The best thing you can do is make some decisions, get to work, and have some fun doing it. If you made it this far, I highly suggest you take a little time to develop a lesson plan. This takes into account your goals, your resources, the ones collecting dust or maybe digital dust, and you make a plan that you can actually follow. I'll have a link in the description below to a previous video I made about actually making a lesson plan. It's how I did it. I'm pretty happy with how it's turned out so far, and I discuss how to organize it and how to gather your resources and identify what you need. I'm considering recreating the lesson plan that I made for myself in a way that may be more useful to you because, again, there's so many resources that I included that you're not going to have. You would either have to go spend some money to buy some stuff, which you'll have to do that anyways. Like, there's just some resources that you want to have, but some of the stuff you can't buy. And you can probably find some really quality free videos on YouTube that would possibly replace some of this stuff. And so if that'd be of interest to you, let me know in the comments. Maybe I'll put that together and make that available. I was actually planning to make the lesson plan available as is, but there's just so many resources because I've been collecting stuff again for a very long time and not using it as I should, not actually studying it and taking the time to really study it. And that's where I can have a 20-minute video on my list and I'll spend 2 hours studying that 20-minute video. I did not do that before until I made my lesson plan, and I've already seen very good improvement from where I was, a few months ago. So if that sounds interesting to you, let me know in the comments. And what do you think about this topic? Do you have an art hoarding problem? Do you see this issue in the community where people are chasing that perfect thing, whether it's a tool or a resource or some new fancy YouTube video that just has the perfect how-to? How have you dealt with this, or have you? And with that, if this was useful to you, please like, subscribe, hit the bell, and if you really like it, share it to someone who needs to hear this message. All right, that covers it for this video. Take care, and God bless.